Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Sinja, and we are back for another video. Now today I just wanted to make a video about this because I have heard some people having some issues with the Theater Mechanicus mode. Not necessarily in terms of completing it or whatnot, more so just for the point of getting all the points. I mean, all in all, I just wanted to make a full guide on Theater Mechanicus because I've played a ton of tower defense games and I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge on it. And I've seen a ton of combos, but I also wanted to sort of, tell people about some other elemental combinations I've come up with, some really great characters to use, especially characters that are open and available to everyone. So free-to-play players should have all these characters already. So yeah, let's just get straight into the video. I've unlocked so far the farthest difficulty you can get. You have to wait till the Festive Fever reaches guests blocked from afar, but basically what I'm going to be going through in this full guide for the video is all about Theater Mechanicus, how tower defense games work, the goal and objectives, different elemental combinations that work well, different characters that work well as just overall getting to finish the mission without having any enemies get into the portal across. So as far as my armory goes, I did upgrade a lot of them, but you don't have to for the sake of just completing and getting the points. Obviously, when you upgrade them, any of the towers are going to be really good. So all these level 6 towers are going to be good. I don't specifically prefer the electrical tower, electrical tower, whatever. But I mean, let me just show you. So I'm just going to start one right now. So the characters I use, I don't use any of these characters except for Barbara. Barbara is OP. She is probably one of the more OP characters, I believe personally, in this mode, Theater Mechanicus. So let's go on ahead. Now I don't have any huge 5-star. I don't have Zhongli. I don't have Jean to skirt people across the map. So this is really much a guide based towards any player, because no matter what characters you have, each character has their own abilities that should be, quite useful. And a lot of the free-to-play characters are actually useful, which I will be doing a video on that sometime soon as well, showcasing just beating the harder difficulties. Now I'm waiting for all the difficulties to show that off. But for now, we're just going to go, we're going to start with Chongyun. He's probably one of the main characters that I would use as well, so if you have a Chongyun, perfect. This is going to be a quick guide for you. If you don't have a Chongyun, Kaya is fine too. A lot of ice characters. For this reason, I'm just going to go water and ice characters, because that's sort of what I was making the video about. I might put some footage up time to time because I was playing tower defense earlier with a friend of mine, and we were just trying out a whole ton of elemental combinations, seeing what was best. And so far, Shatter seems to be the best. Shatter is basically when you freeze an enemy and then you shatter them using a claymore or a geo attack, which basically shatters the ice, and it does a whole lot of damage. It does almost over 2,000 damage. I don't know why I'm saying almost 2,000 damage. It can do over 2,000 damage. So let me just show you now. I'm really only going to be using Barbara and Chongyun for the sake of this guide, but so tower defense in itself is not too hard to understand. You have one sort of goal, and it's to defend your side, defend your towers. In this case, it would be, where is it? It would be these two blue portals. There's a blue portal on that side as well, and you're just going to want to defend these blue portals from the enemies that are coming through in the purple portals, purple portals. Speech. I can't talk. So basically what we're going to want to set up is a bunch of defenses. So we're going to set up recovery here. We're going to set up a water here. We're going to set up an ice here. Now keep in mind, we do need to, cover for both sides. So not enough for here. So now we're going to go cover on the other side. I'm probably going to be doing most of the work on this side, so I'm going to sort of let that side be. So we're going to put a water here, an ice, and an ice. So long as that, oh, we can't even put an ice, so it's fine. you know, these 2 towers are going to be fine. So we're going to start it up, right? And I'm generally going to be using, so long as there's not too many ice enemies, then it should be fine. Because what we're going to do, we're just going to shatter the enemies as soon as they get down. So we're just going to freeze them and shatter them. Now it seems like this one's going to be a bit tougher since we got some ice enemies on the side. And so for this purpose, I'm just going to put a fire one down because they are getting by. And that's going to melt them, basically. Let's see if I can push this one enough back. There we go. So because this one did happen to be ice enemies, that's quite unfortunate. But as you can see, the right side was totally covered. No one got through. And just this side, it's a bunch of ice enemies that are immune to it. So essentially, they can't get frozen. But any time otherwise that there's not a fire character, or sorry, there's not an ice enemy, any enemy is going to have a trouble getting across these defenses. They're going to have trouble getting across these defenses, not only because they get frozen, but in this case I also put a fire one down because, boom, they're going to get melt damage. And melt damage is huge. But really, frozen's going to be our main strat, and then we're going to shatter them upon freezing, as you can see. There's 5 enemies left, no one made it through. It seems like they're only going to come from this portal, so just going to sort of wait it out. I could have placed the towers more far ahead, but it is what it is. Because at this point I'm just going to be waiting for them to get to the melt area, the fire. Now what you want to do in tower defense, and it's a really smart idea, is to not only ensure that your towers are in the right positioning to attack enemies. So as you can see, I have a 3 formation tower here, with the recovery right in the middle to get some bonus points, a fire here to melt any characters that come through. So you want to make sure that your formation as well, but not only that, you want to make sure that you're hitting the enemies as much as possible, because a lot of people that I was talking to were like, oh, there's no point of hitting the enemies, it does no damage. That's not entirely true, right? You can stop enemies by just hitting them. You can purposely just hold them out so that you can use any abilities and such. And see, we don't have any ice enemies coming, so this is the perfect time to show it. So I'm going to use Fearless right now. And, you know, I'm going to pop some examples on the screen after I'm finished this round maybe, of just me and my friend using Fearless and Fickles, which are basically... they're basically the ones where it's like, okay, we're gonna give you a really good bonus, but in exchange, you might get screwed. So basically, you're gonna get a bonus, but you're also going to get a handicap, and that handicap might be really bad. And I'll show you some of the handicaps we got, which almost got us lost, but despite that, we did not lose at all. Alright, so what's up guys? Here we are doing some voiceovers for some of my clips. This is kind of weird doing, honestly. I've never done much voiceovers, but in these clips, basically, me and my friend are doing one of the later difficulties that were available at the time. And we just set up a bunch of water towers, a bunch of crowd towers, and also a couple of fire towers just for some melt. And we specifically did not use our characters at all. We didn't use any elemental abilities, we didn't use any physical attacks, nothing. We just basically watched as the towers did all the work. And this just goes to show how busted water and ice are, freezing, and then melting them with fire. It just does a ridiculous amount of damage. Right there, you just saw some melt damage on those hilichurls. Did like over 3k damage. And you'll see it does even more to like ice enemies, because obviously the melt on them is ridiculous. So yeah, we were just basically watching it go, and this is just one of the things that you can do, honestly. It's not something you have to stick to doing, honestly. If you find it boring, the whole point of freezing enemies using water and ice is basically to slow them down a lot. It slows down the whole pace of tower defense to give you an opportunity to attack more, and it just overall makes it much easier to stop them enemies from going through your portal. Now, here's what kind of screwed us up. We chose the Fickle and the Fearless, and the Fickle gave us where we can't use Cryo Towers at all. So basically, we couldn't freeze enemies, and we had Ruin Guards and Ruin Hunters coming, which are pretty thick enemies, and the Ruin Hunter specifically runs really fast past the towers. So it's really important to then be utilizing the ice and water, the freezing for the Ruin Hunters, because they run through it so fast. Same with the running Hilichurls, they run through the towers really fast, and if the towers are focusing other enemies, which they could be because it's all auto attack, auto target based on MiHoYo's programming. So it's all auto target, so that way sometimes, that way sometimes a little shaman guy or little Hilichurl is going to make it past your towers, which is why freezing is so beneficial. And this just goes to show how it's so beneficial. This Ruin Hunter just passes by all the towers, literally gives zero fucks. Especially the Electro Towers. The Electro Towers are useless, and if you didn't see the tips that I gave before, I'll be putting some text tips, which basically, it's like, don't use Electro Towers. Even the Animo Tower is kind of meh. It's only really we used it if we chose a Fickle and we couldn't use Hydro or Cryo Towers. But otherwise, Ice Towers, Water Towers are the way to start. Position them as well as you can nearest to the enemy portals. Make sure you're covering all areas where the enemies respawn, because sometimes next round it'll change where the enemies are spawning. For Ruin Hunters and Ruin Guards, it's really good to have an enemy character that can freeze them. So not only using your water and ice towers, but if you're just trying to complete the stage and not being idiots like me, not idiots, not wanting to give yourself a challenge basically, then go ahead and use a character like Barbara to just water them up and then just have the ice towers freeze, because the water towers are a bit slower. Their attack speed is a bit slower compared to the other towers. So obviously having a water mage like Barbara is very beneficial to be able to freeze. Characters like Sucrose, who can apply Animo Swirl, is also very beneficial. Ningguang, who can apply Crystallize, still does a good amount of damage. There's just so many characters that you don't need to have a 5-star character. 4-star characters are perfect. You also don't need to have amazing weapons or artifacts, because none of that applies in Theater Mechanicus, just so you know. It's really just getting those elemental reactions to pop, like you're seeing on the screen. It applies the element to the monster, and you basically just want to get elemental reactions out of it. Now, as soon as this round is over, we replace the electrical towers and everything back to cryo. I was lagging a bit too, so as you can see, a couple enemies escaped before, and then this round we had a lot of enemies escape. In the initial round, it was only because I lagged, so one enemy escaped. But this round we did get screwed over because we did not have any cryo towers. So make sure to position your cryo and water towers with freeze. Make sure to position your pyro towers. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Your pyro towers for the melt. And you'll just be monstrous. You won't have any issues at all. And yeah, we just kept using Fickles and Fearless, and it goes to show basically how easy it is to beat this mode when you use the proper combinations of elemental reactions and proper characters that you just don't even have to attack at that point. Because we did end up sweeping through that wave as well. And now I'm just gonna go to another clip where I was playing with my girlfriend, and this just shows how OP Barbara is. I mean, she kept the Ruin Hunter frozen the whole time. That's what we couldn't do the last time because we didn't have any cryo towers. But with characters like Chongyun and Barbara, you can keep the Ruin Hunters, the Ruin Guards, any enemies frozen the whole time. I am going to be trying, hopefully, a run without using any towers, basically just using maybe a physical damage one, but otherwise the elemental abilities are only going to be used for my characters. So I am going to try that out, see how that goes. But yeah, Barbara's OP, and she's a free character, so I would hope everyone has her by now and is able to use her for Theater Mechanicus. So yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions or concerns in the comments below. Any issues you're having with Theater Mechanicus, Theater Mechanicus, God. Yeah, just any issues at all. Would love to talk to you guys in the comments and see what your guys' thoughts are on Theater Mechanicus. I really hope they keep this mode around for a long time. I know it is only around right now for the event, but it'd be really cool if they kept this around for even longer, just because I think it's just such a fun mini game to play when you don't have anything to do. You're all out of resin. You have no artifacts to grind for because you're out of resin. Fix your resin, mijo, you fuck. But yeah, not only that, just overall, it's just something different from the main game. And it's also an open playground to really test out and try characters in. I mean, I was able to hop in with characters I haven't used in a long time, like Kaya, Mona, Amber, all these characters, and just have fun with them because, you know, I didn't have to level them up for the main game where, you know, all the enemies are scaled towards your AR level. Rather, I can just use their elemental abilities and just have fun time with them. So this mode is just overall super fun time. Really hope they keep it around for a while, as well as bring back the cube event, just as things to do for players on the side. And hopefully the levels just keep getting more difficult. I'll be making another guide if the levels do get more difficult to the point where freezing enemies and melting is not good enough. I may have on the screen now some enemies just getting monsterized by the melt, getting like 17k plus damage on them because they're all cryo enemies. And it's just redonkulous. Like, we didn't have to do anything and it was just the easiest thing. So yeah, thanks so much guys for watching the full guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it's helped you out with your Theater Mechanicus gameplay. Just overall made your time more fun and just been able to try out the fickles and such instead of having to worry about completing the levels and getting through the difficulties. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me up at Sinja_YT on Instagram, and make sure just, you know, overall comment. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.